Man, I'm Kevin Ploe. I am a journalist and filmmaker. Really happy to be here with you guys today to conversate about this amazing, deeply entertaining, hilarious, surprisingly inspiring movie with one of its biggest scene stealers. When I saw this film in the early spring, I walked out of it and I was like, man, Chris Messina gives, I think, that's one of my favorite performances of the year is early, as the hot-headed sports agent David Falk, of course. But it's the end of the year now, and I still believe that even more so. I love this performance so much. It's unexpected, it's untamed, it's volatile, it's hilarious, it's vulgar, it's weirdly charming. It's fucking brilliant. I love this performance. So without further ado, it is my privilege to introduce Mr. Chris Messina.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hey, what's up, Chris?
Thanks for sticking around. I'm sorry, Matt Damon and Viola Davis and Ben Affleck. I'll try to make this as painless as possible for you.
I was going to apologize to you guys for wearing Adidas, but so did you.
It's Sunday.
It's Sunday, yeah. We're Nike the other 6 days of the week.
What a beautiful theater this is. I've never
cool.
been in this theater.
This is cool. Chris, congrats again on this film, on this performance. First things first, did you ever think, studying theater and acting in high school and in college and rising up through the rigors of this profession, that it would take really just a character yelling, "I will chew your nutsack, I will eat your fucking nuts," to get you some of the best reviews of your career?
Anything it takes. No. I'm shocked. I'm always amazed that I get to do this in any way, and certainly with these folks. I did a lot of theater in New York, and that no one came to. Often, the cast outnumbered the audience. So to be here with you and you all in this building is awesome.
Like a black box, usually.
Yeah, like leaks. I remember one time doing a play up in the Bronx, and it was raining. It was just leaking on stage, But those were some of the most remarkable experiences, and kind of the greatest lessons doing those plays.
I do want to dive into that scene right away because it just pops out. It's my favorite scene in the film, and I think Ben sort of devised a pretty clever way for you guys to film that. Can you share that story?
Yeah, so all the phone calls were shot at the same time. So they had built the Nike offices, and in the same building they had built my office. And there were 3 cameras on me and 3 cameras on Matt. And it sounds so simple, but in my career I had done a lot of phone calls. And typecasting, and you usually do it with the script supervisor who's off camera, who's sometimes can be good, but they're not actors, or somebody calls in and the phone call keeps dropping, or you lose them or something. So to have Matt and myself being able to improvise and talk over each other was just super smart of Ben. When I first read the script, I was super excited to be a part of it, but I was like, oh, this is a great character to play, but I want to look into Matt Damon's eyes. He's such a great actor, and because the phone calls were shot at the same time and we could come together, Matt, Ben, and myself, and talk and change stuff around and then go back to our corners, it really felt like Matt Damon and I were just in a room together.
Mm-hmm. How much of that conversation was scripted versus improvised?
Well, the writing's so great, so really, most of it's just Alex's great writing, and anyone who played Falk, I think, would have a ball doing it because the writing was there. It reminded me very much of some David Mamet stuff. I watched Glenn Ross on repeat, trying to steal everything I could from that. But Ben had come up to me and said, "We got it, and he was happy. And anytime, he just gave me the role. So you're thinking the whole time, he just gave this to me as he's sitting by the monitor going, why did I give this to him? He's ruining the movie. So anytime a director's happy with you, you're happy. He said, we got it. Now do another one and just do whatever you want. And a lot of that stuff made, the chewing your nutsack and stuff like that just kind of came to me.
Naturally,
as it does. But yeah, it's a great. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of actors here, right? Yeah,
right.
So when there's a sense of relief that comes over you when the director says we got it. You kind of relax a little bit, and then I just let it rip. So it was a lot of fun. Fun to scream at Matt Damon like that.
Did you and Matt hug it out afterwards? Did you feel the need to sort of embrace
we hugged and laughed, and he's such a great actor. Anything that I said to him, he's just completely in the moment and just went with. And it's funny because I saw, when I was like in my 20s, I guess, I went to the Angelica Theater in New York to see Good Will Hunting. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, I was in awe of the movie and their performances, and I was kind of shocked, I guess, as an actor that, you can write things and be in them as an actor. That was like very foreign to me. Mm-hmm. I was super jealous of them too. And then to be in a room with them kind of reworking scenes and rehearsing, and Ben runs the set like you're all a big family. So there were times where I was acting super cool, like let's do that. But meanwhile I was going like, it's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. This is so cool. How did I end up here?
Yeah. Well, I think I know one of your first film roles was in a movie called Rounders. Yeah. With Matt Damon, which had to come, I think, right after Good Will Hunting, right? Forgive me my ignorance here, but did you and Matt work together in that movie?
We did. I had 2 or 3 lines with him around a poker table, and he was very kind. He was going through all the Good Will Hunting, Golden Globes and Oscar stuff, whatever they were doing. And I remember thinking, wow, he's being pushed and pulled in all these directions. How is he concentrating, being the lead of this movie? But he was super kind and focused, but it was brief. That movie, I think I had 4 lines in that movie, and then I remember the director. What sticks out to me is the director came up to me in front of everybody after a take, and he said, those 2 lines are now going to go to this guy, And I was like, okay, that's fine, in front of everybody. I was like, that's cool, that's fine. That doesn't hurt at all.
Breaks. Let's talk about David Falk. I mean, how closely did you look at him, look at footage of him? Did you guys want this portrayal to actually mirror the real man, or did you want to sort of like really concentrate on fictionalizing, on elevating him? How did you approach that aspect?
I don't know how you guys feel, but I like preparing more than actually doing it. I didn't do well in school, so I love to learn about whatever it is I'm doing, and I also, it's like great detective work to kind of try to put the puzzle together of another human being. I read his book, which is titled The Bald Truth, and there was a lot of stuff to pull from in there. I had found that Falk, like Michael Jordan, had his mother was his role model. she's a very smart woman, spoke a bunch of different languages, and she instilled in him never settle for second best. And so he, a brilliant guy, but really he learned early on to outwork everybody. You know, stay up as late as he could, wake up as early as he could, and work his ass off. And I thought that was an interesting place to start from, because Michael Jordan had such a, you know, such a great relationship with his mother, and I thought, wow, they must have connected on that level. And I also thought, in order to hang with Michael for his entire career, who's, you know, such a brilliant guy and such a, you know, force to be reckoned with, so competitive, that you had to match that in some way. I begged Ben to, you know, shave my head back and do some comb over thing, and he kind of kept listening to me, but I could see in his eyes that he wasn't thrilled with that. But I kept. So we had a camera test, and they hired this very kind person who kind of looked like me, and they sat there. He was very sweet, but he got angrier at me as the day went on, and they kept pushing his hairline back, you know. Because if they had started with that with me, there was no reversing it. Mm-hmm. So I put the wardrobe on and got in front of the camera test, and after a while of receding this kind person's hair back, Ben said, I had done a movie called Live by Night with him, and he said to me, he pulled me aside and said, you looked terrible in that movie. You looked so ugly. He said, let's do a Michael Douglas thing, you know. Let's slick your hair back. And so long answer here, but he wasn't interested in a caricature of these people. He was more like, let's find the essence of David Falk. So that's what I tried to do.
I mean, and it sounds like David had we were talking a little bit about this backstage, but a very like New York mentality when it comes to, because we both lived in New York, and people in New York work way too hard. Like compared to out here, there's just this mentality that you just have to work constantly there. That I think sort of is distinct to that area. But you're from Long Island, and so is he.
So is he.
But how else did you sort of relate to him?
I related to that because honestly, you know, I love acting. I you know, I would be nothing without it. I've devoted my life to it. I've made sacrifices for it. I'm sure, like everyone here or everyone that's in this, you know, it's a great way to spend your life. It's a hard way to spend your life. But for me, the only way to sitting here in front of you was to work really hard, you know, and try to stay up really late and wake up really early and try to outwork people. There are things I can do that I feel confident in, and there's a lot I can't. So, you know, I just to tell a quick story about how that came to me. I did so bad in school that so many teachers had kind of written me off. I could see them like glaze over in their eyes, you know, when I was in their class. And I used to dance as a kid. My mom was a dance teacher, and I used to dance. The musical theater, the head of the musical theater found out about it, and I kind of hid it away because I got beat up in junior high because I danced. So he said, I heard you can dance. Do you want to do Pippin, you know, the musical? And I said, absolutely not. And he kept pursuing me. So I tried out, and I got the leading player, and can't sing. So I took a friend of mine, and we rehearsed. You know, I stopped going to the parties. I stopped hanging out, and we rehearsed day in and day out the leading player, the songs, the dances, the acting. And I remember doing it, and it's probably horrible, by the way. If we saw a video of it, it'd be the worst leading player you ever saw. But I remember going into school the next day after we had performed it, and all those teachers that had just glazed over finally saw something. They saw me, you know. And from that point on, as a guy who fell in love with acting, I was like, maybe I can do this, but I have to outwork everyone. So that thing in Falk is very much present in me. And
Did you try to, or did you even consider reaching out to him?
I thought about it, but because Ben he wanted my version of him.
Yeah.
And the little I knew about Falk then, as I started to get to know him, as you see in the movie, everybody has a different version of the story, who named the shoe. And I think I was concerned that he was going to lead me possibly down a path that wasn't our version of the movie. Of course, then when you play someone that's alive and well, you're wondering if he's going to show up at your house and be like, what did you do? You know, why did you do this?
Yeah.
I hope...
that's somebody you don't want showing up at your house.
No.
From what we can tell.
No, I hope if he saw the movie, I hope that he knows that or can feel that I had the utmost respect for him. He is a brilliant guy. So by no means I was judging him or making fun of him. I thought he was, he was awesome to play.
Yeah, for sure. You're kind of becoming like one of Ben Affleck's muses. This is number 3 for you. There was Argo, there was Live by Night, which you mentioned. How is working on a Ben Affleck joint different from any other filmmaking experience that you have?
Well, because he has so much experience, he has such a great cinematic IQ. I mean, he knows so much about filmmaking, and he's super confident about it. So he moves quickly and precisely. It's a very much like a family affair. A lot of people that work on the movie have worked on all his other stuff. Billy Goldenberg, the editor, has done a bunch with him, and he's fantastic. I mean, you go back to that scene that you mentioned, me screaming at Matt. So much of those little improvs and stuff could have been left on the floor, but he picked them out. I mean, you all know it's when you're surrounded by great people, they make you better. They just make you better. It's like what we're all striving to do. It's how many times have you done something and you look at it and you go, they made it worse. They chose the wrong take, or why was the camera over there? It missed everything I was doing over here. And when you're with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and Viola Davis, they're gonna make you better. They made me better. If the same phone calls were shot by Bob Richardson shot it. If they're shot by somebody else and edited by somebody else, directed by somebody else,
yeah.
I think we wouldn't be sitting here talking about them. We'd be like, yeah, those are 4 boring phone calls, So they really, I think that's the goal for all of us, is to be surrounded by, people that can elevate us. So that's what it's all about.
You touched on this a little bit earlier, but I want to dive a little deeper. And Matt and Ben are obviously they're like family at this point, I would imagine. Yeah. Having been friends and collaborators for so long, what is that chemistry like to witness on set as a collaborator of theirs?
They're incredible with their shorthand. There's no ego too, because I thought, oh, they're gonna, your buddy's telling you to do it this way or don't do that, and there's none of that. There's like, I think Ben talked about this once, so I'm stealing this from him, and he's talked about like the best idea wins. I mean, it doesn't matter where it's coming from, and I saw that so much with them. There was a complete trust. It was really fun to watch them work together. I hope I get to do another one with them together, because it was very inspiring.
Are they constantly talking shit to each other?
There's a lot of that, yeah. But again, in just a great way, yeah. And then you got Jason Bateman. who's amazing and super hysterical. One quick story here is the first day I worked. Of course, you're really nervous. I don't know if I had told you this, and that's the Nike boardroom table. It's my first day, and the first setup, the cameras were facing me and Matt, and Jason Bateman's off camera, and we walk in, and Chris Tucker's character comes in late to the meeting, and Chris Tucker's an amazing improvisational actor. He was great, and he kept going on and on and on to the Jordan family. He was coming up with this incredible stuff, but we were like this. I was like this watching. I didn't quite know what to do as my first take, and it went on for quite a while. And again, Jason's off camera, and I started doing like actor business. I started like checking my watch, and Jason's off camera. It's rolling, and Jason's like, "Good, check your watch." And then I fixed my tie. I was like, "Oh, love it, the tie, it's great." And he went, "Slick your hair, put your hands through your hair." And from that point on, it was like, I guess there's another version where you'd be like, "Stop it, you're ruining," Yeah. But it was just so relaxing to laugh and giggle and be like, we could play around here.
Ben made this has gotten some attention, especially when the film was released, but Ben made a very interesting, very conscious decision never to show the face of the actor who plays young Michael Jordan. And I remember talking to Ben about it, and he said, well, one, this wasn't Michael Jordan's story, but also the sort of the magnitude of who he is and being an American icon, he didn't think anybody could play him. And I think it really came from like out of a place of respect. At the same time, I watched this movie, and I just remember feeling like this poor actor, he gets cast in this movie with all these amazing actors, and we don't see his face. So can we just give a shout out? His name is Damien Delano Young. Yeah. Just let's give him a shout out, kids.
A great guy, yeah. and such a sweetheart. But yeah, you call your family like, "I'm playing Michael Jordan," in a movie about Michael Jordan. But you're not going to see my face. You're like, what? Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to cast that, and the voice and the presence, and it almost helps. I mean, it's this great thing about Ben as a director that you have to acknowledge. And he did this in Argo. You know how the story ends. You know what happens to Michael Jordan, but you're still going, what's going to happen with the deal? That's a pretty remarkable feat as a director to kind of pull that off.
Yeah. And so, and I want to talk about sort of the themes to this film too, because I think it really goes into some unexpected territory in terms of especially through the Viola character, and sort of I think it hits on this theme of sort of knowing your worth, right? Can you talk about sort of that and what you took thematically from the film?
Yeah, that's always just a great thing, right? For all of us to know our worth and know what we bring and know who we are and to stand by that. So that spoke to me just, on a human level. And, I took that for Falk, honestly, because Falk wasn't Falk when, we kind of pushed it in this movie. So you meet him and he is in a power position, and he was, but this deal changed his life. So every character, I think, is dealing with that self-worth in this movie. But for me, as cool as he was, or as confident, or as much as he was screaming, I think he also, at this particular time in his life, knew that Michael Jordan was a very, very unique, special client, and that this deal, possibly, if it went right, could change his life and the way marketing and sports is forever moving forward. So, yeah, that's my favorite part of the movie. If you want to talk, Viola Davis is just, she's incredible.
Unparalleled.
She's incredible. And a lot of that stuff's done on the phone. You know, that last phone call she has with Matt is unbelievable.
Yeah, 100%. Do you guys have any questions? We have time for a couple questions from the audience, if there are any. Sorry, I just sprung that on you. I should have
No pressure.
told you a couple minutes ago.
We could just end it now.
I got one right here. Yes, hi.
Hi, I'm Ellen, and I worked in the bar scene. Did they cut that whole scene out at Warner Brothers?
The bar scene.
Yeah, like I saw Ben in there and Matt come in, and they were just hanging out. I didn't know what was going on in that scene. I was just in a booth
Oh,
drinking coffee.
this is such a sad story today. I don't know, but I'm gonna bring it up with them. Say Ellen's pissed at you. You cut her out. I'm sorry. I know that feeling well. I was in a movie with the first movie I ever did was with Meryl Streep and Liam Neeson, called Before and After.
Okay.
Barbette Schroeder directed it, and I had a scene with Meryl Streep, and I brought my girlfriend at the time to see that movie, and I was like, I think she only went with me because I was in this movie, and I was like, bought the popcorn. I'm like, yeah, I'm in this movie, and no one told me I was edited out.
Oh.
So she broke up with me soon after.
You got
I'm sorry, Ellen.
You got Terrence Malick, I think is the term for that.
And at that time, I thought too, I must have been terrible. But you realize, no, it happens all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
It wasn't you, Ellen. It was them.
Does anyone else want to air grievances about getting cut out of movies? We've got a question right here in the second row. Yes, hi.
First thing I saw you in was in 6 Feet Under. Just want to ask about, film versus TV. Like, what do you prefer?
That was he said the first thing he saw me in was 6 Feet Under, and that was remarkable because that was my first big job on camera coming from New York theater. And I was a fan of the show, nervous to be there. The writing was so good. I love theater because you're up there without a net with a live audience and nobody can call cut. But I do love the opportunity with film that you can keep trying the moment. And the jigsaw puzzle is kind of fun. I got to work on a great movie with Sidney Pollack. It wasn't a great movie. It wasn't a great movie, I hassled him the whole time. He was an actor in it. I hassled him the whole time for advice or talk about acting. And he said the coolest thing to me that I want to say about film and TV. He said, with theater, you're weaning yourself off the director and creating a performance. And on film or on camera, you should rehearse every day. Every scene you should be in a rehearsal for them to put together your performance, to create a performance. And I thought that was really interesting because that's the hard part of theater, film and television is, like I mentioned earlier, is when they put it together wrong. But when they put it together right, it's beautiful. So the thing about theater is no one has to put it together but you know. So I don't know. It's a long answer to say they're both kind of phenomenal. Certainly the writing in theater is, when you get to do an Arthur Miller play or a Carol Churchill play or something, there's nothing better, you know. So
Cool. We are out of time. But Chris, thank you so
we
much.
do one more?
Do you get
One
sure,
more.
okay.
I'll make it.
Okay, then I'm going to let you choose then.
Okay, sir.
There you go.
Hey.
Remember, I'm Jason Powell. We used to work together in New York.
Oh, shit. What's up, man? What's up, Jason?
What's going on?
How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Excellent. And I guess one question I wanted to ask, and when I just wanted to say, when you were speaking about those days in New York, just brought me very, I was very nostalgic, because I remember the struggle. We're going to that studio back in those days, the new school. One thing is, has anyone heard from Michael Jordan over his campaign, and how's he feeling?
Well, Ben talked to him a bunch, and I think he's very happy with it. He had to get his blessing, and I was hoping that I was going to get to talk to him. Maybe get a pair of Nikes, But no, I haven't. But Ben did, and said he's very happy, and his mom, and very touched and moved, and so it's great to see you, man. The Actor Studio, that's where it all started. Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you guys for coming out and listening, and really
Great for being here.
thank you so much for doing it.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.